Hey everyone. It's kind of a scary time now with this whole virus going on. I've seen a lot of people who are posting ideas for homeschooling, and now that many of our kids are home, it might be difficult to try to work from home. That's something that I've been doing for 13 years, running my business, and so I found some ways to make it work a little bit easier. It's not always perfect, and definitely it's going to be a trying time, but I just wanted to show you a quick method that I use to plan my day. Now, some of the schedules that I've seen online that people are sharing, they're great. They're great, and if you're a person who can put up a schedule and go through it one by one and follow that schedule, that's fantastic. And some of the resources out there are great for that. However, my family and I can't always work in that way. There's always something that comes up and interrupts us. We get a phone call or one of the kids has a meltdown and we just get off schedule a little bit. So our daily schedule needs to be a little bit more fluid. So here's what I do every morning when we get up and we're ready to start our day. And I involve the kids in this process, and they really like it because it gives them an opportunity to have input on what they want to do for the day and what kinds of things that we can accomplish together. And it also helps them with their structure, so they know exactly what's going to happen and when. And they even start to help me by keeping an eye on the clock for me, saying, hey, isn't it time to do this now? Aren't we going to move on to this next? So the very first thing that I do, and I'll try to make this work with a little marker board here. The very first thing that I do is I have everybody brainstorm all of the things that they would like to get accomplished that day. And then I just break them into, there we go. Just break them into categories. So and I'll just write down everybody's items that they're doing. So for me, I'll put my mom category. And so the things that I need to do are work. Now, my work schedule, when I'm actually blocking out the time to work, there's a lot more that goes into my work scheduling and my time blocking for work. But for the purposes of what I'm doing with the family, I'm just going to block out one particular big chunk of time to work. And then I also want to go to Orange Theory. This is where I go to exercise. It's kind of a non-negotiable part of my day. And I also need to mail a package. And then we've got the kids. And normally I will break the kids out and write their names individually and let them make their own list of things that they want to do. But just for this purpose, I'll just put them all in one group. So for the kids, we've decided that during this time that they're home, there are certain things that we want them to do each day. And one is to go outside and get some fresh air. We want them to work on a project. So we're going to work with each of our kids to identify some kind of project. Maybe it's something entrepreneurial. Maybe it's just a fun craft that they want to do. There's all different kinds of things that they can do. And then the other thing we want them to do is something called Prodigy. It's a website that our district has given to us that has some good learning and educational materials on it, and we want them to spend some time on that program every day. Our district has not given us like a full curriculum that they want us to use, so we're winging it a little bit in terms of activities and learning opportunities for our kids. And then there's definitely other things that come up as we are talking about our day, and then Dad's schedule gets put on here too. Sometimes he has phone calls. And this is kind of what happens now during this break, but when like on Saturdays too, this works really great on Saturdays because we will all have a million different things we need to do. We need to run errands and go and do all these different things, and it's hard to try and think about all those things all at once. So then, now that everybody has created their list of the things that they want to do for the day, now we just make our schedule. And let's say our day is starting at 9 o'clock. I just go and just put down the times, and you could get like a notebook that already has, I can't write at the same time, that already has all of this, that has like the times written out. And then if you go later into the evening and you have some activities and stuff that go in the evening, you could put those on there as well. But so then what we do is we look at our list, and first we put the non-negotiables, or the things that are happening at a very specific time. So maybe today my husband has a phone call at 1:30. So that's going to go in first. And his call is going to last an hour. So we're going to put it down for an hour. And then Orange Theory. My Orange Theory class is at 10:30. So I'm going to put Orange Theory. And then we've decided that, Dad and I were each going to have our work blocks. And so if I'm going to Orange Theory in the morning, it makes sense for Dad to work from like 10 to 2. And so we just put that on. And sometimes our activities are going to overlap because of the different things that we're doing. And then maybe it makes sense for me to work from 2:30 to 5. And so then I just fill that down. And now we can start to see the different blocks of time that we have available. So we'll fill in, the package that I want to go and mail. Maybe that's a good thing to do on my way to Orange Theory. So I can fit that in at 10 o'clock on the way there. And so that takes care of, and then I just put a little check mark by each of those once they're on the schedule. Then let's look at the kids. So now is where we get the kids involved. We say, hey, when would you like to go outside today? Do you want to go outside in the morning, in the afternoon? Here's what Mom and Dad are doing. Here's what their schedule looks like. When would you like to go outside? And maybe Addie says, I want to go out at 11:30. So we put her down for 11:30, and she's going to spend an hour outside. Maybe Dane wants to go out at 4. So he puts that down. Maybe, and then we can put down all the different kids and when they're going outside. When do they want to work on their project? So they're going to work on their project for an hour each day. So maybe all of the kids want to work on their project at the same time. Well, and they say, I want to do it at 1:30, right after lunch. Well, Dad's on a call at 1:30. And Dad is working then. So that's kind of tricky if Dad was the only one home, but I'm home too, and I'm not working until 2:30. So I can help them from 1:30 to 2:30. So they're going to be doing their projects at that time. And then we just go through each of these things and we put them down on the calendar where it makes the most sense for them to go. And yeah, this gets a little messy, and there's probably, there's lots of different planners and things you can buy that already have the times written out, and you can make it a little bit easier to read. But this is just my quick and dirty way to do it. I get up in the morning, and if things are starting to get a little bit chaotic, we have 4 kids in various age ranges, and sometimes the day just starts off chaotic and we get going in our day before we've even had a chance to sit down and figure out what we're going to do. So a lot of times, when that happens, my brain just can't comprehend. I get overwhelmed. And so I have to just grab a piece of paper, grab a marker board, grab something and just start brain dumping. Okay, here's what everyone needs to do today. Break it into categories. And then just say, okay, when is this going to get done? How long is it going to take? How can we overlap things and schedule them so that the day goes smoothly? And granted, we don't follow that schedule, perfectly. We'll get off. We'll get off by half an hour. We'll get off by 20 minutes. And then we have to adjust and shift things. But that makes the whole day go so much smoother. And the kids are so much more invested in trying to help stick to the schedule and trying to accomplish all the different things that we wanted to accomplish. So I love the thought of coming up with a very rigid schedule that some people are sharing online for homeschooling, where they have math in this section and all these different things. And if you have a rigid curriculum from your district that you have to follow, that's great. And that's, that's something that I think we're a little bit fortunate that we have a little bit more flexibility in what we can do with our days. But if you are a person who that gets a little bit too rigid and you get flustered when the time gets off and you're not able to keep to that exact schedule, this might be a better, less stressful way to schedule your day. So I hope that helps some people. Let me know in the comments or send me a message and let me know what questions you have. I'm happy to answer and help. And good luck, everybody, with this interesting period we have here for the next couple months.